In the ancient Javanese shadow puppet theater of wayang kulit, karma operates as a literal physical force. In this moral universe, the actions a person takes inevitably warp the reality of the world around them. Patih Sangkuni embodies this rule perfectly. In the epics, he is known as the ultimate villain, a grotesque, hunched, and manipulative monster who orchestrated the downfall of empires with a whisper. But he did not start out that way. Long before the Great War, he was known as Arya Suman. He was an incredibly handsome, highly ambitious nobleman navigating the wealthy royal court of the Hastina kingdom. Suman wanted one thing: to become the prime minister, the single most powerful political position in the realm. Standing in his way was the current prime minister, Gandamana. He was fiercely loyal to the king, and physically he was an absolutely unbeatable warrior. Suman knew he would never defeat Gandamana with a sword or through honest merit on the battlefield. To steal the kingdom, he had to use a different weapon entirely: his words. Suman launched his coup by intercepting a routine piece of mail. It was a standard, peaceful letter of friendship from the neighboring kingdom of Pringadani, meant directly for the king of Hastina. Suman took the document to King Pandu, but he completely changed the narrative. He lied to his monarch, claiming the letter was actually a hostile declaration of war. Reacting exactly as Suman anticipated, King Pandu immediately deployed his greatest warrior, Gandamana, to the front lines to deal with the supposed threat. With the prime minister out of the capital, Suman raced ahead to the neighboring kingdom. There, Suman planted his second, far more dangerous lie. He told their leaders that Gandamana was marching on their borders to violently oppress them. By controlling the flow of information through a single forged letter, Suman tricked two perfectly allied nations into turning their armies against Gandamana. Now that the armies were clashing, Suman orchestrated a specific physical trap. He instructed the enemy troops to hurl insults at the notoriously hot-headed Gandamana, baiting the enraged warrior toward a designated spot on the battlefield. Lured to the edge of the Sumur Upas, a deadly toxic chasm, Gandamana tumbled into the pit, buried under a cascade of crushing boulders. Fully believing his rival was dead under the rubble, Suman returned to Hastina to claim his prize. Escalating from political forgery to dark magic, Suman stood before King Pandu, casting vocal mantras, weaponizing his speech to brainwash the monarch. The spell worked. With a clouded mind, Pandu officially named him the new prime minister. Suman achieved a flawless political coup. Without drawing a single blade, he conquered the kingdom's highest office, using absolutely nothing but layers of verbal deception. But Suman made one critical miscalculation. Gandamana survived. A loyal ally and a mystical white porcupine dug the warrior out of the toxic well. Battered but alive, Gandamana returned to Hastina in a fury. He arrived at his own estate to find Suman in the middle of attempting to claim Gandamana's wife as his own. The timing was devastating. To escape Suman's treachery, Gandamana's wife had just taken her own life. Suman's web of words had finally broken out of his control. His carefully constructed lies had bled into reality, resulting in irreversible, fatal consequences. Standing over the body of his wife, a heartbroken and enraged Gandamana physically cornered the cowardly nobleman. Suman panicked. He tried to cast a spell, but his mind was too chaotic to remember the exact mantras. The words that built his empire completely failed him in his most desperate moment. What followed was a brutal, merciless physical beating. Gandamana unleashed every ounce of his legendary strength upon Suman. The violence only stopped when King Pandu intervened. An unbitter twist of irony, despite being the victim of a massive conspiracy, Gandamana was permanently exiled from the kingdom for resorting to vigilantism. Suman successfully retained the political power he stole. He was still prime minister. But he would not enjoy the victory unscathed. The physical toll of the beating was permanent. His handsome face was completely destroyed. From that day forward, his mouth was violently torn, his eyes bulged from his skull, and his spine was permanently hunched. To serve as a permanent warning to the court, King Pandu issued a final decree. He stripped away the nobleman's birth title of Arya Suman, renaming him Sangkuni. In literal Javanese etymology, Saka translates to from, and uni translates to speech or words. Crashing together, the name tells the story of his creation. Suman won the kingdom, but the Wayang universe demands a brutal physical balance. The lies he used to warp the world around him eventually warped his own body, leaving him a monster that finally matched his